Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons, and I want to talk about an opportunity we have within Dungeons and Dragons that can be inspired by the wisdom and the courage of Ncuti Gatwa. All right, so let's talk about Ncuti Gatwa. Who is Ncuti Gatwa? So Ncuti Gatwa is a Rwandan actor, and he just made history. He will be the first black doctor. He's going to be the 14th Doctor in the Doctor Who series. He's just been announced, and he will be the first black Doctor Who. Okay. So let's talk about Ncuti Gatwa. Right, he's male. He's black. He's a black man. His race is black. And last is, let's talk about his orientation. So the moment he was announced, there's a lot of history. There was a lot of records that are going to be attached to Ncuti Gatwa, right? And so right away, people were like, "Wait, did we just get our first? Is the next Doctor going to be cis or gay, right, or some other orientation, right?" And the reason why this mattered was there was already a question of, did we make history in getting our first black Doctor Who, right? And so here's the answer. We don't know. And the reason why is Ncuti Gatwa has pronounced that his orientation is private. That's fascinating. That's incredibly elegant. And it's incredibly wise, right? And it puts forward this array of possibilities for people now, right? I'd never thought about this, right? Like, so I've never seen this done. I've never seen anyone say, certainly not a Hollywood celebrity, say, hey, my orientation is private. I've never seen this done before, right? But it's really, really exciting because it opens up a really astounding future for us, right? So we have a lot of struggles right now that are attached to identity, and those struggles are attached to gender, race, and orientation. Okay, those are the primary dials where we get tripped up, right? And you'll hear things like, "Hey, Hollywood whitewashed this role," or "This orientation really doesn't get as much representation as it should," or "This gender isn't paid what they should be paid," right? Ncuti Gatwa is showing the way, right? He's saying, hey, so first of all, we've had a huge problem in America with Roe v. Wade. A lot of people got upset because someone, seems like there's a lot of evidence that, or there's a lot of, actually people suspect that someone who served one of the justices, based on access, leaked a draft of the Supreme Court, right? People got really upset, right? Now, Roe v. Wade, well, the primary reason I think that the people got upset is Roe v. Wade is all about privacy, right? So in America, we have this constitutional right to privacy, right? And that we're using that for different things, and I think there's some things that we can use privacy for, and that would be beneficial, and this is one of them, right? So Ncuti Gatwa is saying, hey, you don't know if you have your first cis or your first gay Doctor Who, right? That's my determination. Right now, my orientation is private, all right, and so we'll know that when I declare that, right? But here's the amazing possibilities of this. A person then, logically, could say, my race, my gender, and my orientation are all private. And once they did that, they could move forward. They could play any role, right? And really would no longer be bound by our cultural strictures of race, gender, or class. And frankly, the sooner we move to a world where all of those are private, right, the better, right? Now you're saying, well, how would people project? Well, people might project that they're a particular race. They might project that they're a particular gender. They might project that they're a particular orientation. But none of that matters. If they've declared it private, it's private. Nobody knows, right? And this would allow a truly free culture, right? Like, anybody could do anything they want that is within the law, right? And nobody would be bound by these constructs of race, gender, and orientation. And we would arrive where we've been trying to get, right? Into a world where anyone has the liberty to do as they wish. And I within the law, and as long as everybody's safety is respected. This is brilliant. I really think this is brilliant. Now, how do we use D&D to get here, right? Where everyone's race, everyone's gender, and everyone's orientation is private, and we move into a culture where we simply celebrate being human, right? Across all peoples, right? So Dungeons and Dragons. So one, I can tell you right now, a lot of people didn't like Ncuti Gatwa's answer, right? Because there were people who were like, it would have been nice to have the first gay Doctor Who. We don't know that right now. Have we been denied that? We're not sure, right? We don't know, right? Because there were people who celebrated having the first Black Doctor. I celebrate having the first Black Doctor, right? But the reality is, celebrating the first Black Doctor, it seems like an antiquated idea, right? Like, especially when you see the wisdom of what Ncuti Gatwa is drawing us to. A world where we simply are all human, right? Now, getting there is going to be challenging, right? There's millennia of patterns of behavior behind how we interact as particular races, how we interact as particular genders, and how we interact as an orientation, as particular orientations. So how do we fix this? How do we know how to go forward? Well, we model it in Dungeons and Dragons. We as Dungeon Masters, Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition Dungeon Masters, no other versions could do this, I don't think, because they don't have the cultural grounding, they don't have the language, they don't have the player base, right, to even attempt this, right? But Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition, absolutely. Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition Dungeon Masters could set into place non-player characters who have private race, private gender, and private orientation, and begin experiencing the obstacles that would make this not work, right, and managing them in Dungeons and Dragons, and then sharing their findings with society. That's what I've always been saying. Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition is a tool for human intellectual evolution. We have the ability to carry the entire society of this earth forward. And frankly, as you look around, scientists and politicians, and pretty much no one else does. We're the front line now. We really are on these kind of important issues. Dungeons & Dragons 5th Edition Dungeon Masters have the ability to move human society forward, unlike many other groups who are outrageously failing, Americans and world citizens. That's my opinion. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.